Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new TVG Talk. I'm your host, Lauro Chapa, and with me today is Paco Treviño.
Hello everyone.
Well, let's get started. So, with the recent release of the first Dragon Ball FighterZ DLC, that is Broly and Bardock, it's coming up I think on the 28th of this month, we thought we'd make a wish list of some of the next DLC characters we would like to see of the game. So Paco, why don't you give us your first pick of your wish list?
Okay, yeah, sure. My first pick is, please don't kill me, but Goku Super Saiyan 4. Okay. I think that he is a very different Goku from the others with his more primal look. I know that a lot of people will immediately hate me for it because, well, it's yet another Goku. But out of all the different versions that we've seen, I think that that one lends itself to a very different moveset.
Yeah. Yeah, right, because, I mean, we have already 3 Gokus on the game, and the problem to me is not that they look a lot the same, is that when they make their moveset like almost equal, like Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Goku have a very similar moveset, but Black Super Saiyan Goku has a completely different moveset, and I think that makes it very interesting when they do that with all the Gokus, because I mean that's not even the last one. We also have Bardock who is practically another Goku, and the other guy is Broly who is just a big Goku. So yeah, when they make their moveset different, it's interesting. So yeah, I guess I'll make my first pick.
Okay.
This one is kind of a joke character. I ordered the list from least wanted to most wanted, so this is my least wanted.
Okay.
It's gonna be Master Roshi. That's his name, right? Okay, so Master Roshi, yeah, I think he can be an interesting character. Maybe move around with his stick, you know. I kind of envision him like Master Yoda in Star Wars Episode 2, where he's like all slow and has like this baton, but when he starts fighting he like goes crazy and does like crazy flips and whatnot. And
Okay.
I even thought about like his superpowers, like his when he uses meter or something. You know how in the anime he's always like creeping up on Bulma. I thought that maybe like he could do something like that Bulma appears and he tries to touch her, and then like she punches him like very hard, and then he launches himself like to the opponent, and that's the super attack. Like maybe he starts bleeding from the nose, and that propels him to the opponent. I think that could be like very, very fun. Fighting games always have like these joke characters, and they add a lot to the roster, and I think Master Roshi would be a fun pick, and I think he's a fan favorite of the series, and so the scenes where he's present on the anime, it's always fun with him.
I mean, I'm all for joke characters, and yeah, I mean, he's a very iconic character. I say, why not? Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, he's been there from pretty much the start of the series,
Right.
Since before it was Z.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, sure. I mean, it's a bit of a shame because I actually had him as a pick.
Oh, right.
But yeah, I mean, I had some ideas where he would be kind of a tank, and I imagined him like that because of his back, like with the turtle
Right.
shell.
I didn't thought about the turtle.
And yeah, I mean, and maybe have some specials where the turtle comes along, and maybe even his meter. But yeah, I mean, I think that I prefer your idea, just because it's crazier.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that I will, since it was not my next pick, I suppose that I can maybe continue.
Sure.
Okay, so please excuse my pronunciation because, well, I grew up watching the anime in Latin Spanish, So my pick is Jaji Robe, but I don't know how they pronounce him in English.
Oh, me neither. I don't even know who he is.
He is this fat, sort of like I don't remember his background all that well, but he's this fat kid that has this orange gi and a sword. And I want him to join the fight because I think that he would be really different and interesting. And he has a sword, and if I remember correctly, he has these beans, so he could use all those things.
Yeah, he actually seems like a very fun character. And in fact, you mentioned he uses this sword, and I think Dragon Ball FighterZ currently has only one sword character, and that's Future Trunks. So,
yes.
Right, with combining the jokiness of the character with the sword, I think that they could make a really interesting moveset with him, and I also like, I'm watching pictures of him and seeing that he has like different costumes and whatnot, and I think he even has a beard now in Dragon Ball Super.
I haven't catch a lot of Super, so I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, he seems like he's very funny.
That's very cool. So, yeah, that's my pick. So, what's your next pick?
Yeah, my next pick is going to be. I don't know if this is a very known character because, full disclosure, I am not like a super follower of Dragon Ball. I don't know everything about it, but there's this character called Dabura.
Oh, okay.
He's like this big demon guy. I think he's controlled by another guy because he has the M on the front on his forehead.
Well, if I remember correctly, yes, he was, but he got freed. Or I think that I'm just remembering here. I don't exactly, but I think that all the characters that had the M were controlled by Majin Buu.
Alright, yeah.
So yeah, like they all got freed when Majin Buu fell, right? But
sure. Yeah, and I thought he's really interesting because I saw that he has like these magical powers, like this thing called magic materialization, and he also uses flames and telekinesis and telepathy. I think that he can make for a very interesting moveset. I think that the problem I see right now with most of the Dragon Ball FighterZ cast is that a lot of characters tend to have like the same powers and abilities, so there's not that much of variety to the roster. And I think that a character like this with magic and elemental powers can come in really handy and make it different than other characters.
Yeah, I think that the thing that you mentioned with the roster is a consequence of having a lot of Saiyans overall.
Right.
So yeah, that's also a part of the reason why I tried to steer away from Saiyans as well. So yeah, I agree with you. He would be a very interesting and different character from pretty much everything that we've seen in the game so far.
Yeah, so I guess what's your next pick?
So my next pick is Dr. Giro. The reason that I picked him is that, well, this game has been very centered around bringing new android characters.
Yes.
And and if I'm not mistaken, there is even like a rumor about him joining the game, so maybe it's not that far-fetched of an idea.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that he would make for a very different character and a very, I don't know, maybe have a different approach, perhaps a more like maybe technical character. I'm not sure exactly how they would handle him gameplay-wise, but I think that he's a very famous character, and I think that even like he is teased at in the game, like people talk about him, although the game is full of Easter eggs as well, so maybe it's not a full confirmation, but yeah, I think that he is not a far-fetched idea at all. What do you think?
Yes, I don't think so either, that he's far-fetched. They even added a new android in this game, Android 21. So I think he'll be a cool addition. But for people that maybe don't know him a lot, what are his like sort of powers and abilities he does in the anime?
Well, I mean, he's very weak. I do remember that.
All right.
Like, I don't think that you could really make a moveset out of his actual powers.
Okay.
But, I mean, that hasn't stopped them in the past. I mean, Yamcha is in the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that he would be not too different from Yamcha, actually.
All right.
In the sense that he's kind of normal.
Yeah.
But when it comes to maybe bring up some of his inventions and
Right.
perhaps be like I don't know. I mean, it would be kind of lame, but at the same time, I think that he could have certain moves from the androids, but like maybe he's emulating them somehow.
Sure, or maybe even the androids can assist him, sort of like the Cybermen do for Nappa.
Right.
Yeah, I think he would be interesting in that matter.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that he would be a good pick.
Right.
So what's your next pick?
Sure. Well, my next pick is going to be a character that's very popular right now. Currently in Dragon Ball Super, he's the one Goku is fighting like actually right now. So by the time this video comes out, Dragon Ball Super will already have ended, and we would know what happened to him. I'm talking about Jiren. Jiren is this like big bulky guy. He looks like a big alien. He has a bald head and it's purple. And he has also a very like distinctive suit from his universe. I don't know, like red and black. I don't know if you've seen him.
Yes.
Right. So I thought that his design was really cool, and plus, you know, he's popular right now, and people, I'm sure people are clamoring for him to be in the game. He has interesting powers, like he glows like red. I don't know if a lot of characters do that. I've not seen that really, and yeah, he could be like this maybe a glass cannon, like, you know, he's very fast and very strong, but he's actually weak if you hit him.
Like a low health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, and in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if like the week after Super ends, they announce him or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's a super popular villain right now, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he makes it in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that it's a very cool idea that you have there. I mean, it's a kind of a trope with the villains that they make him very very fast and powerful, but kind of like glass cannons. Like we've seen it a few times. The first example is Akuma.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. He would make for a very good pick overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's gonna be your next pick?
Okay, so my next pick is probably the most iconic Dragon Ball character that has yet to make it to the game.
Okay.
And that's Bulma.
Right.
Now, I think that she would make for a very interesting character if they make her kind of like remembering Phoenix Wright in Marvel vs. Capcom, that he kind of like pulls out papers and maybe like his assistant comes on and things like that.
Yeah.
I want Bulma to be kind of like that, like not clumsy but funny. Like maybe she screams, maybe she brings something from her capture company, you know. Right. The capsule, I'm sorry, not capture, capsule.
Yeah.
So yeah, like maybe some bombs or you know, techie stuff. Now that I mention it out loud, I'm seeing that I had a certain similarity with her and my previous pick, the Doctor. But yeah, I mean, I want to see very different and unique characters that sometimes get not so represented in Dragon Ball games. I mean, Bulma made it to Xenoverse, but it's actually the only example I can think of right now.
Right.
So
And
yeah,
plus,
Bulma.
Dragon Ball Fighters has, I think, one female character right now. Android 21. No. It has two.
And Android 18.
Yeah, and Android 18. So yeah, I think females are not very well represented on the series or the game, and yeah, Bulma would be really interesting. I actually saw ideas before hearing yours about Bulma maybe being in a mech suit, like to be able to fight. But I think it would be funnier and more interesting if she had all these different items and quirky powers from that you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, any way they go with her, I think that she would overall make for an interesting character, like because she would deviate so much from the choices that we have right now. They could go, like you're saying, with the mech suit, with and I don't think that they have to worry with it being plausible within Dragon Ball. I mean,
yeah, no,
they already don't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she would make for an interesting character.
Yeah,
I'd say.
interesting.
What's your next pick?
So my next two picks, people are gonna say like, does this guy even watch Dragon Ball? I mean, why does he want characters like this in here? I'm bringing guest characters to Dragon Ball Fighters. I think guest characters make fighting game roster most interesting. I mean, we've seen it with Smash, with Cloud, Ryu, Bayonetta. We've seen Akuma on Tekken. We've seen Mai in Dead or Alive. So many things in fighting games. So
yeah,
and this being a celebration of Dragon Ball's anime and Shonen Jump in general, I thought we'd bring Luffy from One Piece into the game. I think he's not as iconic as Goku, of course, but he's maybe the third most iconic shonen main character. I think he would have a really interesting movesets with him stretching all over, and maybe instead of launching ki blasts, he could have his Gatling gun power, where it's his punches instead of ki blasts, and then he has all these transformations too, just like Goku. His gears, they're called, where he like gets bigger or gets more faster, and
right.
Also with the Haki power, where he's like, he has these black hands and it's stronger. I think there's so many things they could get from the anime, and that they could incorporate to his gameplay.
Yeah, I think that I mean, sure, if Luffy is going to be there, I think that the moveset that you are, like the ideas that you're bringing, are very good. I wouldn't know if they would bring him, however. I mean, it's not crazy of an idea. The only thing that makes me wonder is it's the first game in this particular like series of Dragon Ball. But I mean, they've already clashed a few times. I mean, in the, I forgot their name, but the
J Fighters, I think it's called.
Yeah,
J-Stars.
J-Stars, yeah, that's right. So yeah, it's like they've already clashed in the past, so I don't think it's crazy, but the fact that it's the first Dragon Ball Arceus game makes me think that maybe they'll wait for maybe the sequel or to really late into the DLC.
Right.
So, but yeah, sure, like bring him on, or bring I don't know, Naruto or whatever. Like, sure, why not? I mean,
right.
Crazier things have happened already.
Definitely. So, what's gonna be your last pick, I guess?
Okay, so my last pick is actually it's Videl.
Right.
Now, the reason that I picked her is that I think that she has some potential, because I think that her moveset would be perhaps more simple in some areas, but I think that Mr. Satan could come up and maybe do like a move and like I don't know, her special or things like that. But the reason that I really want her to be in the game, I suppose, is, well, now that you were mentioning earlier the female representation,
Right.
but also I think that she represents a face of Dragon Ball that perhaps some fans don't like, but she at the same time represents like that more, like when they try to make Dragon Ball more human, like later in Dragon Ball Z and in GT, like they try to make them more human in some areas, and I think that she represents that.
Right.
So I don't know, like she would really pop out in that way. So I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but that's my pick, and that's the reason why I picked her.
No, she definitely seems interesting, and for the reasons that you mentioned, and also, there's not much female characters in the game, and yeah, I think they could still make a very interesting moveset with her, even though she doesn't have these crazy powers like the other guys. I mean, fighting games always do this, like they just take a normal character and make him or her crazy like that.
Yeah, I mean, if the villager and Wi-Fi trainer could make it into Smash, anyone can make it into any fighting game.
Sure. Okay, so I guess I'll take my last pick now.
Okay.
You already mentioned him. I think it's gonna be no surprise, but my last pick is going to be Naruto. I think that this one is much more possible than Luffy, because Naruto is, I wouldn't say as popular as Goku, but he's definitely getting there. He also has like all these fighting games also. Like, for example, Luffy has a couple, has like 3 or 4, but Naruto has like 15 or something like that, just like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, I mean. And yeah, he has tons of abilities and transformations, and instead of charging his ki, he could charge his chakra, and instead of launching ki blast, he can launch kunais, or I forgot how the stars are called, shurikens, and he could make shadow clones, and there's so much that they can get out of him, and yeah, this being a shonen game, I think that Naruto would fit right in with no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they could make him very distinct from the other characters. Like, he could even have his own meter. Not only look different, but perhaps like the kunais have like their own meter and things like that.
Right.
And he could, and I guess that he would be kind of what do you call him, a zoner compared to other Dragon Ball, to the rest of the cast, the Dragon Ball characters?
He could very well be. I mean, that's not like a trade from him in his own fighting games, or even in the series. Like, he's not very fond of projectile or launching, but they could make him, because there's so many different projectiles from the Naruto series.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was the way that I saw him, like in the games that I've seen so far, whenever I play with you. So yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Naruto fan, I should say, but yeah, I mean, sure, he's a ultra popular character, and he has tons of games, and yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Namco Bandai has the rights to Naruto games as well, right?
Yeah, and One Piece games also. So.
And One Piece, yeah.
I think that all Shonen Jumps, Namco Bandai has the rights to make games from. So yeah.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
There wouldn't be no problem with that.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, if two guest anime characters are going to make it in, I suppose that Luffy and Naruto are the two to immediately make it in.
Right. Yeah. So I guess any last comments about our wish lists?
No, I just hope that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball FighterZ fans don't hate us, because we've made some very different choices.
Right, we didn't include many like Saiyans or really powerful characters.
Yeah. I went for the oddball characters, and I didn't know you were going to do that as well.
Yeah. Well, so I guess that's gonna be it for the video. Comment below, guys. What are some of your DLC characters you wish they're coming our way to Dragon Ball FighterZ. So thanks for watching, guys. I've been Lauro Chapa, and with me today, Paco Treviño.
Bye bye, guys.
Thanks for listening, guys. Bye bye.